Greetings. I'm going to take 3D. I hate videos that start off with the person going, sorry, I've not been around for the last few weeks, guys. This is why it doesn't really mean anything in the future, but considering I've just turned on memberships and then vanished for a couple of weeks, there'll be a few people going, what's the crack, Neil, where you at? Don't really want to go into it in all that much depth, but it's something everyone can relate to. But the last week we had a very unexpected family bereavement, which has required my full attention. So that's kind of what I've been doing. It's been a rough week. So that's that. On to the topic of the video, as try and get things back on track. You may remember, it was mid-September, I made that video about Autodesk University 2022 New Orleans, just an absolute scathing, damning indictment of how it all went down. Well, Autodesk had a multi-year deal with that conference center in New Orleans to host it back in New Orleans next year and possibly the year after. They've decided to not go ahead with that. So next year, 2023, Autodesk University, back in Vegas, man. It's back in Vegas. At the Venetian, November 13th till the 15th. There's a lot of people who don't like Vegas. I've spoken to a lot of them. Personally, me, I'd rather go to the f***ing Mordor than back to New Orleans, given the issues that we had. But one thing that's probably going to end up causing a lot of issues is the Formula One. The first ever Vegas Grand Prix is the week after Autodesk University. Given how many people descend onto a Grand Prix, there's hundreds of thousands of people attend a Formula One event. The flights, the travel, logistics, the hotel, everything's going to be absolutely mental. I don't know how Autodesk even managed to go at the Venetian the week before the Grand Prix. But they have. So that's happening. I'm a huge Formula One fan, so I'm quite excited about that, if not a bit anxious about what it's going to do to the arrangements, but I want to try and be there for that as well. So 13th to the 15th, back in Vegas. Now, the reason I've titled the video the way I have, it's mostly to get people to click it, right? Let's be honest, that's how YouTube works. Every time I make an AU video and just title it something about Autodesk University, the video just burns to the ground. But no, there's some truth behind it. As much, and I don't want to get into politics, right? I'm not interested in, I don't even want to understand the full story, the full picture. This is just my perception of it. But New Orleans was a beautiful city. It really was. And the majority of the people there were really accommodating and lovely, but the small minority ruined it for this. They're probably ruining it generally for their city. Whilst they're complaining about the lack of public services, lack of opportunities, they're actively engaging in a deterrent for investment in the city. Because next year, AU's been pulled, right? That's millions of dollars. That's not going back into their city. That's tens of thousands of people not going to their city. And who knows how many of the conferences did the same thing, right? If you went to AU this year in New Orleans and you didn't experience any of this, then that's fine, right? I'm genuinely happy for you. If you didn't hear about any of the issues that were going on, then that's great. But it's just not up for debate. The issues were there. People were getting assaulted, attacked, mugged in the streets. The attendees to conferences were getting targeted by either homeless people or just petty criminals in the city looking to steal phones and money and whatever to help themselves in the short term, but they're just screwing themselves over in the long term. So that's the way I see it. I have no doubt there's bigger pictures, more politics involved in it. I just don't care, really, to be honest. That's just, if you just strip it down at brass tacks, there's millions of dollars not going back into their economy because of this. Whether the money gets to them, I don't know, don't care. No, it's money not going into their city. That's the end of it. But it's a shame because it could have been such a wonderful place to have the event. But Autodesk won't come out and say this is the reason why they're not doing it there again. But the issues with the conference this year weren't all Autodesk's fault. It was primarily what was going on in the city, but also the conference center. But the conference center, they could have had a lessons learned meeting, right, and just said, right, we want this to happen next year, this to be different, that to be different. And those issues could have been resolved, but you just can't do anything about the crime. And Autodesk just cannot send thousands of people back into that city knowing that people's health and safety is at risk. Incidents happen in Vegas as well, but generally it's a very safe place to be because the conference is entirely within the Venetian. You don't even need to leave the Venetian if you don't want to. I've walked around the Vegas Strip. I've been there 4 or 5 times now, and I never once felt unsafe or heard a story about something happening. Things did happen in Vegas, but New Orleans was just exceptionally different on a different level. So yeah, that's that. So the email went out. It's now public. It's happening 13th till the 15th in Vegas. Formula One's the week after. So if I was you, I would try and make your arrangements pretty quickly because rooms and stuff. People are going to want to go to Vegas. If people who are traveling to Vegas for the Grand Prix are probably going to want to be there beforehand to experience Vegas before the Grand Prix happens. There's going to be a lot of setup. Vegas is just going to be completely. It's going to be like a construction zone because the strip is going to be straight on the Grand Prix track. It's a street circuit, so they're turning the whole strip and parts of Vegas into the Grand Prix track. So construction is going to be going on for that. It'll be well underway, if not nearly finished, by the time we get there. So it's going to be a very different Vegas this year. But it's a start. it's better. So I'm as much as I'm happy that Autodesk did this, it's sad that New Orleans didn't work out. But this was the only option really Autodesk could do, and fair play to them for actually doing it. They would have took a huge financial hit as well with pulling out of the contract, and I don't know what the ins and outs of that are, but it is what it is. So there you go. I just thought I'd do this, get something online at least to keep something ticking over on the channel. So yeah, tutorials and stuff will be back soon as we work things out over here, get things arranged and sorted. But thanks for sticking around. Thanks to the channel members who did sign up. Thanks to all those who are at the executive board level. Apologies, I've just not been able to do anything, but we're getting back on track now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.